After a third Russian airfield was set ablaze by a drone strike, U.S. Secretary of State reiterated Washington's position that it has neither encouraged nor enabled the Ukrainians to strike inside Russia.
Strike upon strike coming from Russia and now trying to take out the civilian infrastructure that is allowing people to have heat, to have water, to have electricity, what we've called weaponizing winter. That is the daily and nightly reality in Ukraine. We have neither encouraged nor enabled the Ukrainians to strike inside of Russia, but the important thing is to understand what Ukrainians are living through every day with the ongoing Russian aggression against their country and our determination to make sure that they have in their hands, along with many other partners around the world, the equipment that they need to defend themselves, to defend their territory, to defend their freedom.
There have been 3 strikes on Russian air bases in 2 days. Officials in the Russian city of Kursk released pictures of black smoke above an airfield in early hours after the latest strike. The Russian city is situated around 90 kilometers north of the Ukraine border. Meanwhile, in Washington, U.S. State Department spokesperson Ned Price reacted to the development by saying that U.S. is not enabling Ukraine to strike beyond its borders.
We have not provided Ukraine with weapons that it is to use inside of Russia. We've been very clear that these are defensive supplies. The president said very clearly some time ago, we are not enabling Ukraine to strike beyond its borders.
Early on Monday, Russia said it had been hit hundreds of kilometers from Ukraine by what it said were Soviet-era drones. The strikes were reported at Engels Air Base, home to Russia's strategic bomber fleet, and in Ryazan, a few hours' drive from Moscow. Ukraine did not directly claim responsibility for the strikes, but nonetheless celebrated them. Here's more in this next report.
A third Russian airfield was on fire on Tuesday from a drone strike. Russian media released footage of what they said was the aftermath of the alleged attack on the Kursk region airfield. The governor said an oil storage tank there had been set ablaze, but there were no casualties. It comes a day after Ukraine demonstrated an apparent new ability to penetrate hundreds of miles deep into Russian airspace with attacks on 2 Russia air bases. And on Tuesday prompted Britain's defense ministry to say if Russia assesses the incidents were deliberate, it will probably consider them as some of the most strategically significant failures of force protection since its invasion of Ukraine. Russia confirmed it had been hit by what it said were Soviet-era drones at Engels Air Base. 600 kilometers from the nearest Ukrainian territory, Ukrainian presidential advisor Alexei Arestovich said it was the only base Russia has that is fully equipped for the giant bombers Russia has used in attacks on Ukraine's energy grid. And in Ryazan, just a few hours' drive from Moscow. Kyiv did not directly claim responsibility for the strikes. It never does with attacks inside Russia, but celebrated them. The New York Times, citing a senior Ukrainian official, said the drones involved in Monday's attacks were launched from Ukrainian territory, and at least one of the strikes was made in the help of special forces close to the base. Russian commentators said on social media that if Ukraine could strike that far inside Russia, it might also be able to hit Moscow. Russia responded to Monday's attacks with missile strikes across Ukraine, destroying homes and knocking out power. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said on Tuesday that it can agree with the United States about the need for lasting peace in Ukraine, but played down the prospect of negotiations until it achieves the goals of its special military operation. That as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited troops close to front lines in the eastern Donbas region to mark the country's Armed Forces Day.
I know that our troops, especially in the east, are the strongest because it is the most difficult situation in the east. I would like to thank you for your endurance and might. from the bottom of our heart. And I think it is a duty of every Ukrainian. We want to help you because you are an outpost of our independence.
Zelensky also recorded a separate video in which he appeared to be speaking from Sloviansk, near the besieged city of Bakhmut.
We are still talking about the situation in Ukraine. Susan Teherani is our correspondent from New York, and she has sent us this report.
The U.S. State Department is walking a fine line when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia war. After 2 days of drone attacks inside Russia, the State Department spokesman is speaking up, saying that the United States was not, quote unquote, enabling Ukraine to strike beyond its borders. A quote from Ned Price is noteworthy. He's noted that everything we are doing, everything the world is doing to support Ukraine is in support of Ukraine's independence, its sovereignty, its territorial integrity. Price noted that we are providing Ukraine with what it needs to use on its sovereign territory, on Ukrainian soil, to take on Russian aggressors. Now, the United States did stop short of condemning attacks inside Russia. However, it said that it does not encourage them. Similar statements were made by Anthony Blinken as well. These statements come at a time shortly after U.S. President Joe Biden said that he is willing to sit down with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the Russia-Ukraine war under some conditions. Susan Teherani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.